Hello, welcome back here, and of course I remain Moses. In this particular tutorial I'm going to be teaching you how to properly use the Elementor Flexbox container and the grid to build stunning website. So first, let me take you through what we're going to be building in this tutorial. We're going to be building this awesome hero section, and if you scroll down you're going to see this kind of modern layout. Now these days people work more with grid rather than the traditional hero section where you have text and then you have buttons below them. But now people like experiment with grid, and I want to show you how to do that with Elementor. So scroll down, you see something more modern. For these parts I made use of grid, and also this image is different from the background. As you can see, I can drag out the image and the background is fixed. To scroll down, we have our logos right here, and then we have an awesome testimonial. Now I made use of Elementor Flexbox to build this. This is very lovely. Usually you can do this with CSS grid, but in Elementor I made use of the Elementor Flexbox. I made use of grid to set up the logo like this, and also to make them responsive. You scroll down, you're going to see the footer as well, and this is looking stunning and modern. Now, one of the major issues most people are having with the recent Elementor Flexbox container is the fact that when building the footer, it is always not mobile responsive. That is, the ability to have 4 columns for desktop, 2 columns for tab, and maybe 1 column for mobile is almost impossible when working with Flexbox. But for this particular tutorial I made use of grid, and I'm going to show you how to use grid to create an awesome layout like this one and also make it responsive. Now let's check the responsivity of the website. I'm going to inspect. As you can see, this is iPhone 12 Pro. I'm going to go to Galaxy S8, and this is still mobile responsive. I'm going to go to iPhone SE. It's also mobile responsive. You go to XR, it is mobile responsive. You go to 12 Pro, 14 Pro Max, Pixel 7, it is all mobile responsive, as you can see right here. And if I just scroll down, as you can see, the design is also responsive. Same with the images we have right here, the text, the logo. Now we have it as 2 columns and 3 rows. We have the testimonial section also responsive, and then the footer is also much responsive. You can check the tab as well. If you come to maybe iPad mini, as you can see, this is responsive. Look at the sections. The sections as well is responsive. The logo right here is 3 columns, 2 rows, and also the grid layout is also super responsive, same as the footer. So this is basically what we're going to be doing in this tutorial. This is not a full website creation video. This video is just to teach how the Elementor Flexbox and container work together, and how you can use them to create stunning landing pages like this one. And also I would advise to stay to the end of the video, because at the end of the video I'm going to teach you how to come up with awesome layout like this one, how to create ideas, how to see modern designs, and how to combine everything together to build your own custom landing page. So without any further ado, let's get right into the video. So to get started, there are a few settings you need to do on your installation. So log into the admin dashboard of your website, come to Elementor right here and go to settings. So in settings, you want to come to features, and then right here you need to turn on some things. Though I already have mine turned on, but in your case you might have it turned off. The grid container is still in beta stage, so what you want to do is click on this drop down and select active. And also you want to scroll down, and you want to make sure your Flexbox container is also turned on. So this one by default is turned on. Probably by chance you have yours turned off. Let's make sure it is active. And once you do those two, all you need to do is just come down right here to click on save changes. Then go ahead to your page, create a page, and click on edit with Elementor. Then continue with the video. So I already have mine right here. This is an empty canvas, and this is where I'm going to be building the website. To get started, I'm going to create a container, and I'm going to select the Flexbox. So usually I do select the one pointing down most times, and once I select it, what I do next is I usually drag in a container. Some people go directly to edit inside the big container they just created. Now one issue I have with this is when you start working on mobile responsiveness, and probably a user is visiting the website from a larger screen, and you have maybe some items that you set to absolute, they're going to be taking the entire model container, which is set to full screen. So in most cases, I do drag in this container to kind of contain all my content. So that's what I'm going to be doing for this tutorial, and that is actually a very good practice. So I'm going to drag in this container right here, and now we have the mother container, and then we have another container inside the mother container. So this new container is going to contain everything I want for this particular section. So after doing that, I'm going to come to the mother container. I'm going to come to style, and I'm going to set the background color to pure black. So I'm going to come back right here, and for this design, you notice we have a section right here. This is a section, this one at the top. I'm talking of the logo now. The logo is an entire container, and then we have another container for this guy, these two, and then the container is divided into 2 columns. So that means inside our big container, we are going to have 2 containers pointing down. So I'm going to come here, and I'm going to drag in a new container inside the container we just kept, and I'm going to duplicate it, and now we have these 2. Now before I proceed to start teaching you about the design and going about the design, let me bring your attention to some of the features of the Elementor Flexbox. So now that we have these 2 containers, inside this container there are some things we can do with these 2. If I click on the inner container, talking of this one containing these 2, and I come to my layout, we scroll down here, you're going to see some directions. If I should click on this, it's going to make it horizontal. If I should click on this, it's going to make it vertical. And if I should click on this, it's going to reverse the row. That means what we have here initially is going to come here, and what we have here initially is going to come here. Same applies to this. Column reverse, it's going to reverse what is up, bring it down. What is down, it takes it up. So now when you make it row horizontal, if you come here, you're going to see something like justify content. For justify content, they're kind of self-explanatory. So let me just give you an example. I'm going to drag in an image right here inside this one of the container, and I'm going to choose, let me just go with this guy, and let me just duplicate it. Let me duplicate it twice, and let me change this image so you can see what I'm working on. I'm just going to select this. So I'm going to select this container. Now we have it as column. If I just select it as row horizontal, as you can see, it is now row horizontal. If I should make it row reversed, as you can see, it has been reversed. This logo was initially here, as you can see it right here. It was initially here, and when I made it row reversed, they both switch place. If I come to column reverse, as you can see, the image is now at the top, and now I can play around with this. So now that we have that, this justify content and align items is used to position this item within the container. If I should make it row horizontal, I can put space between this guy by selecting space between. So each item is going to shift to the end of the container. So if I select space around, the space is going to be shared around. So the space at the beginning, middle, and at the end is going to be shared equally. So if I click on space evenly, as you can see, we have it right here as well. Then end is going to move all the content to the end. If I bring it to the center, the content will be aligned to the center. And if I bring it to the start, it's going to all move to the start. So now we have that. So let me make it center now. Now for this is used to align the items together with the same center point. So if I click on center, as you can see, this one moved down. If I should untick it, tick it, untick it, tick it, as you can see, it moved down. You can also align everything to top, can align everything to bottom, and you can align everything like zigzag. So that is basically how the Flexbox container works. So this is just more like a brief tutorial. So I'm going to go ahead to delete these images, and I'm going to select the outer container, and I want to make this guy's column vertical, or just leave it as default the way it is. Now let's come back to our design. For our design, notice for the first section we have a logo right here. I'm going to drag in an image. And I'm going to click on choose image, and I'm going to scroll down to select the logo. Now I already provided the link to download all these resources in the description below, so go ahead to click on the link, download this resource so you can follow along the tutorial. So now that we have our logo, don't forget we are working with this container. I can click on the container and I can bring all the item to the start. It's as simple as that. You can also select the logo and just align the item to the left, and I'm going to play with the size. So let me make it 40%, make it 50, or even 60%. So depending on how you want it, you can even make 70%, but I'm going to go with 60%. So I'm going to select the outer container right here. I'm going to come to style, and then for the background image, I'm going to click on choose image, and I'm going to choose my background image, which is this one, the Hero BG. I'm going to click on select. So now when you select it, as you can see, this is not looking very good. What I'm going to do is I'm going to come to position. For the image resolution, I'm going to leave it as full. For the position, I want to take it to top right. As you can see, this one is positioned at the top and then to the right. So I'm going to move it to top right. The attachment is going to be default. The repeat, we want to know repeat, and then the display size is going to be contain, the way it is right here. So now that we have that, we can start working on the remaining content. So for this second container, I'm going to drag in another container inside it. I'm going to duplicate it so we can have this column. Remember, we have a space here and then we have another column here. So it's best to duplicate that. So I'm going to select the outer container containing these two, and I'm going to make it row horizontal, just the way we have it right here. So the next thing we need to do is start adding our text. So we have explore beyond limitation. That's our heading. I'm going to drag in a heading here, and we're going to have explore beyond limitations. So I believe that's correct. Explore beyond limitations. I'm going to come to style, and this is going to be pure white. And for the typography, the font family is Montserrat Alternative. So search Montserrat and you're going to say Montserrat Alternative. I'm going to select that, and also I'm going to work on the size. So I'm going to come back right here and use the plugin I have on my Chrome to select the features of this text. You can also install the plugin. So I'm going to select my Word font. The plugin is called Word font on Google Chrome. So I'm going to select this, and as you can see, the weight is 600, the size is 90 pixels, and the line height is 95 pixels. So I'm going to come back right here, and I'm going to set the size to be 90 pixels. The line height is 95 pixels, and the weight is going to be 600. So this is coming together. So for the subtext, we have 500 width, 20 pixel size, and the 3 pixel line height. So I'm going to come here, I'm going to drag in another, let me select this heading for SEO purposes. So this is not compulsory, but for SEO purposes, you want to make sure your headings are structured. So I'm going to make this one H1. I'm going to go ahead to duplicate it, and this one is going to be something like H4 thereabouts. I'm going to come here to copy this text. I can just close this and exit my Word font. I'm going to copy this guy and I'm going to paste it right here. So this is looking distorted. I'm just going to come to style, and this is going to be 20 pixels and 33 pixels line height, and the weight is 500 medium. So we have this, and the next thing we have here is our button. So I'm going to drag in a button widget right here. I'm going to drag this in, and the text says get started. So right here, I'm just going to type in get started. For the style, the background color is going to be transparent, 100% transparent, and then the text color is giving orange kind of vibe, yellowish orange kind of vibe. So I'm going to select that, and I'm just going to pick the color here, something like this. And then for the typography, I'm just going to make the weight 700, and it's going to be, let me give it 18 pixels, something like that. Then I'm going to scroll down. For the padding, I'm going to get rid of the padding. I believe that is very close to what we have there. I'm going to get rid of the padding, and I need to add an arrow. I'm going to come back to the code, to the content, the icons. I'm going to select icon library. I'm going to search for arrow, and I'm going to select this. I'm going to click on insert. I'm going to come to icon position and put it after, and then give it some space, just like this. You can make it 30 or 20, something like this, and I'm going to come to the style. Hover should be pure red, and I think we are good to go. So now we have this. And now that everything is coming together good, it's time to remove the padding around all the box. So I'm going to start with the big one, the big guy, the mother container. I'm going to come to advanced. I'm going to get rid of the padding, and then for the top, I'm going to give it padding top of 30 and maybe padding bottom of something like 50. So if I should expand this, you notice the content is not in the center. There's a little bit of space here, and that is because of all the padding in the container. So I'm going to get rid of the padding. That's one of the main reasons why I do remove the padding. You may be wondering, why didn't I remove the padding from the start? And the main problem you are going to see now. So let's start with the outer container. I'm going to select this. I'm going to come to advanced. I'm going to click on this to get rid of the padding. So now that we've gotten rid of the padding of the outer container, you notice this upper container is now aligning with the outer container because we've gotten rid of the padding, and this is one of the problems. So that's why I do my design before getting rid of the padding. You may be wondering, how can you maneuver your way around this? Well, that's the importance of the navigator. You can use the navigator to move around. So if I click on this, as you can see, I'm still on the outer padding, the outer container. If I click on this, it's now on the top, on the upper container, which is inside the outer container, but they are both aligned together, so I can't really select the outer container from here. So I'm going to close that, and you can get rid of the padding of these other guys. I'm going to select this as well, come to advanced, get rid of the padding. Now I can select the inner guy, come to advanced, get rid of the padding, select this, come to advanced, get rid of the padding, and then the container for the logo as well. I'm going to select it and get rid of the padding. I'm going to try to increase the padding at the bottom to something like 80 thereabouts, and for this guy I'm just going to increase the margin top. I'm going to come to advanced, and let's give it a margin top of something like 70. I'm going to click on update, and this is now looking more like what we have here. So the next thing we need to work on now is to make it mobile responsive. So right here I'm just going to right click on this, I'm going to inspect, and as you can see, this is looking way distorted and not mobile responsive, but we're going to solve that in a moment. So starting with the iPad, what we need to do is we're going to come back to our responsive mode, and I'm going to select the iPad. To get started, let's first work on the sizes of the text. I'm going to come here, I'm just going to right click on this to inspect this, and now we have this. So we're going to come here to select the word fonts. I'm going to click on this, and now it is 80 pixel size, 95 pixels line height, 600 width, 80 pixels, and then for the text below, the size is now 16 pixels, line height is 26 pixels. So let's quickly work on that. I'm going to come back right here, I'm going to select this. This is going to be 80 pixels, and this is going to be 16 pixels. So now that we have that, don't forget we got rid of the padding. So I'm going to select the mother container. For tablets, usually what I do is for padding top, can just give it something like 30. For padding right, 30. Padding left also 30. For the padding bottom, can still leave it at 80, and then we're going to work around it. So for the background image, we need to do something about it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select this. I'm going to select the mother container, come to my style, and then for the display size, we're going to work with, for the position now, we're going to work with custom. So I'm going to be able to move it around. So for the position X, I'm going to make it 559. And then for the position Y, I'm going to make it 66. So we have this, but if you look at this, this is still not aligning well. So I'm going to select the outer container, and to be able to select it properly, I'm going to need my navigator. So I'm going to select this outer container. Now this is selecting the entire outer container. The one I want to select is the one containing these two guys. So I'm going to come down a little bit, and now I just selected it. So after selecting it, I'm going to come to layout, and I want to make it column vertical. So now we have this. What I just need to do is to adjust the text. I'm going to select the upper text, which is the main heading. I'm going to come to advanced. I'm going to come to width. I'm going to set it as custom, and then I'm going to make this percentage, and then just play around with this guy, something like this. So we can do 65 and do 64, 63, 62. So I think 63 is the breaking point, or let's go with 64. Better still, let's just work with 70. And then I'm going to do the same thing for this. I'm going to come to advanced, and then for the width, it's going to be custom. This is going to be percent, and this also is going to be 70. So now that we have that, this is looking good. We can go ahead to click on update, and let's see what that looks like. Now this is mobile responsive. Now let's go ahead to work on the little devices. I'm going to select probably iPhone 12 Pro, or let's go with 12 Pro. And also I'm going to come here to select the iPhone 12 Pro. Now for the iPhone 12 Pro, as you can see, this is way mobile responsive. I'm going to come back to my dashboard. I'm going to select the mobile right here, and we're also going to play around with the text to adjust it. So let's come right here, and I'm going to select my word font. I'm going to select this text, and as you can see, the weight remains 600. The line height is now 45, while the size is 32 pixels. So let's implement that. I'm going to select this, come to style, and this is going to be 32 pixels. Line height is 45 pixels. Pixels now, not M. So I'm going to make this 45. Line height of 45 pixels. I'm going to come to container. I'm going to close this, and let's select this text. And for the text, this is 16 pixels and 26 pixels, just like the tablet. So I'm just going to exit my word font, and I believe everything's looking good. So for the background image, I think we need to quickly work on that. I'm going to select this. I'm going to come to the X and Y position, and we're also going to work on the display size. It will have to be custom. So for the display size, this is going to be custom, and I'm going to give it something like 630, something like this. And for the X position, I'm going to make it 220, and then for the Y position, this is going to be 33. Now this is looking good. I'm going to select this model container. I'm going to come to advanced. I'm going to get rid of the padding, and then for top, I'm going to leave it at 20 pixels. For right 20, and for left this is also going to be 20. And for the bottom, you can leave it at what it is, maybe like 50 thereabout. So I'm going to click on update, and let's see what we have here. Now this is looking good, but I'm not so cool with this design. So to make it full, this is iPhone 12 Pro, and this also is iPhone 12 Pro. To make it full, what I'm going to do is I'm going to select the model container. I'm going to come to layout, and for the height, I'm going to change this from pixels to VH, and this should be 100 VH. So I'm going to click on update. As you can see, now it is full. Another thing we need to do is to move this text a little bit down. So I'm going to select the container responsible for that. I think this is the entire container. I'm going to select that, come to advanced. I think the inner container, yeah, I'm going to select this. And for the upper part, we can give it 150 pixels top. Click on update, and now this should look more like what we have right here. Now let's proceed to the second section. So for this section, we're going to have a model container, and don't forget, inside the model container, always drop in an inner container. Then inside that inner container, we're going to have 3 columns. So let's do that. I'm going to come back here. I'm going to create my model container. It's going to be pointing down, and inside the model container, we're going to have an inner container, and inside our inner container, we're going to have 3 containers. So I'm going to drop this. I'm just going to duplicate and duplicate. So after doing that, select the inner container, and then I'm going to make this row horizontal. After doing that, if you look at this, notice we have a lot of padding at the top and bottom. I'm going to select this, and I'm going to come to advanced. I'll change the padding. Then padding top is going to be something like, let's go with 80, and padding bottom as well is going to be 80. For the background color, I'm going to come back right here to pick the color. I also have another extension right here, eyedropper, for picking color in Google Chrome. So I'm going to select that. I'm going to pick the top color, which is red. I'm going to copy the color code right here. I'm going to go back here, and I'm going to come to the background. I'm going to select gradient, and for the upper color, it's going to be red. And then for the lower color, I'm going to select yellow. I'm going to pick the color, and I can select yellow right here. I'm going to copy this, and I'm going to paste the color here. It's as simple as that. So now that we have that, it's time to start working with the inner guys. So for the first inner container, which is this one, the one of the 3 columns, we have this body, this border content right here. So I'm going to drag in a heading, and this is going to be 8. I'm going to duplicate it, and inside this we have yes building planet. So this is going to be yes. I'm going to add a break, which is an HTML tag, yes building, and then another break, planet. So now that we have this, I'm going to select the first column, which is this, and I want to make it a row horizontal. After doing that, I want to position it to the center, and also want to align it to the center. As simple as that. So let's work with this guy first. I'm going to select this. I'm going to come to style, and this should be pure white. Because I've done it before, I know the size of font. So this is 150 pixels. And for the family, we can change it to Montserrat alternative. And then for this also is going to be pure white, and the weight of this is going to be something like 600 thereabout. Or let me just pick my word fonts to see the exact. So we have 27 pixel size, 38 pixels line height, weight is 500, and then for this, the weight is 600, 150 pixels line height, 150 pixel size. So let's work on that. I'm going to exit my word font, get back here, and then for the line height of this, I'm going to make it 150, and then for this one the font size is 27 pixels, this 500, and the line height is 8. So we have this, and then I'm going to select the container for these guys. I'm going to come to style, and then I'm going to give it a border of solid, and it's going to be pure white, and the border is going to be something like 2 pixels. So for the next column, I'm just going to copy this and just paste. So I'm going to select this. This is going to be intervals, and if you come here to select this word font, this is 27 pixels and 27 pixels line height. So let's come here, come to style, 27 pixels and 27 pixels. I'm going to duplicate it. Down here we have creative solution by professional designers. So this is 45 pixels, 50 pixels, and 700 weight. So we have 45 pixels, 50 pixels line height, and the weight is 700. So you can come here to exit our word font. I'm just going to copy this text, copy, and right here I'm going to select this. I'm going to come to contents, and I'm going to paste. So I'm just going to copy this. I'm going to get back here, and I'm going to drag in a text editor. I'm going to paste, and this should be pure white. And then we have a button. So I'm just going to copy this guy. I'm going to paste it here, and I'm going to come to style. For the background color, I'm going to make it pure white. And then for the padding top, it's going to be something like 15. Padding bottom is going to be 15 as well, while the right and left is going to be 25. So for the border radius, you can as well go with 50. And this is looking good. And then for the text, it's going to be pure black. And then on hover, we're going to have it as red. And I'm going to drag this guy to make it 25 pixels. So to edit it easily, I can select the container, come to layout, and just make this guy 25. And I'm going to come to style. I'm going to come to border, and then the border radius should be something like 10. Border radius of 10, and we can increase this guy to 5. So let's go ahead to get rid of the padding. I'm going to select the outer guy, come to advanced, get rid of the padding, select the first column, advanced, get rid of the padding, select this as well, advanced, get rid of the padding, select this, come to advanced, and get rid of the padding. Locate the mother container, which is most likely the one at the top here. I'm going to select that. I'm going to come to layout, and then for these gaps, I'm going to make it 30. After doing that, let's see what we have. One other thing I want to do is I want to make the space between these two guys a little bit, extended. So I'm going to drag this in. 35 works. So I'm just going to select this, and let's come to layout, and let's make it 35. So 35 doesn't work. I'm going to make it 37. So the next thing I want to do as usual is to make it mobile responsive. So I'm going to come to inspect this, and for this we have it this way. I'm going to come here to inspect this, and we have it this way. This is not looking good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back right here. I'm going to come to my responsive mode, and for the first container, remember in layout we have it as row horizontal. This time around I'm going to make it column vertical. So we have it this way, and then the contents, we're going to have them to the center as well. So what we need to do is we just need to reduce the text size. So I'm just going to go with my initiative, select this, bring it down from 150 to something like 120, and for this I'm just going to bring it down to something like, let's go with 20. And then for the line height, let's give something like 25 and pixels now. So 25 pixels, and this is looking good. So for this as well, I'm going to reduce the size from 45 to 35, and then the line height is going to be something like 40 pixels as well. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to select this container as usual, come to advanced, and change this, and top can be 70, bottom 70, right and left for tablet is always 30. And this is looking just like we want it. I'm going to select mobile, and this is not looking really good. I'm going to come here to select iPhone 12 Pro, and it is structured this way. So right here we need to select this container again, the inner container, come to layout, and bring it like this. I'm going to select this content, This one, I'm going to reduce the size and let's go with 30 pixels, and the line height is going to be 35 pixels. So for the text, I'm going to leave it the way it is, and I'm going to select the entire model container. I'll change this. Top can be 70, bottom can be 70, but right left is going to be 20 and 20. I'm going to go ahead to click on update. This is looking good for tablets, and let's check Galaxy S8. This is looking good for Galaxy S8 as well. 12 Pro, this is looking good. So the next section we need to work on now is going to be this section. For this container, we are going to have the model container as usual, and then we're going to drag in the inner container just like I've been doing. Then inside the inner container now, we're going to have two containers, two columns, and then for this one we're going to use grid, and then we have the text. So let's do that. I'm going to come here, I'm going to create a model container, which is going to be a flexbox pointing down. And then inside the model container, we're going to have our inner container. And then inside the inner container, we're going to have two containers. I'm just going to duplicate this. And this is going to point as a row. I'm going to select the inner container right here. Come to the layout and make it a row horizontal, just like this. I'm going to select the model container. I'm going to come to advanced. I'll change the padding. Then padding top is going to be something like 80, padding bottom is going to be 80, and I'm going to come to style, and the background color is going to be pure black. If you look at this, you notice this section is bigger than this, so I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to come here, I'm going to drag this to 60%, and this is going to be 40%. Then inside this, we're going to have our grid. So this is the first time we're going to be working with the grid. So for the grid, I'm going to scroll down. It's going to be 2 by 2. It is as simple as that. So for the first grid, all I need to do is just drag in a container so we can work with background colors. I'm just going to drag in the image. I'm going to select this, and we have this. The image is going to be 300, 300, advanced, negative, 120 at the top. So we have that. Now I can select the container because I dropped a container inside our grid. Come to advanced and change this. Come to style, and the background color we're going to give it red. So after doing that, I'm going to come to border. I can give it a border radius of something like 20, which is looking too much. Let's make it 10. It's as simple as that. So after doing that, I'm just going to copy this container. I'm going to paste it here. I'm going to paste it here as well, and also paste it here. So what I did was I pasted the container inside each of the grid. So I'm going to select this image, and I'm going to change it to this. And why not, the background color can be blue. So we have that, and then I'm going to change the image of this guy as well, and this can be orange. I'm going to select this image and select the last lady, and this can be something like lemon, even pink. So select the background image, the background color now, and this can be pink, something like this. So now that I've done that, we'll need to put space between these two guys. I'm going to select not the inner container now. I'm going to select the grid, and if you come to layout, we can give it some space around. So I'm going to change this for the column gap. Let's give something like 20 or even 30. And then for the bottom, let's go with 100 first. Let's make it 120. Let's go with 130, and I think 130 is looking good. So we need to start working on this other guy. We have a text, heading, text, and then the button. So let's do that. I'm just going to come here to copy this. I'm going to paste, and says top players. Top players, the color is what? The color is yellow, orange, something in between like that. And then for the font, I'm just going to make it 22. So I'm going to come back here. We have these guys, and this should be bold a little bit. So I'm just going to make this Montserrat, and this should be bold, 700 bold or 600. And then we are going to have this guy, top players. I'm just going to copy this. I'm going to copy this same guy. Copy. I'm going to paste, and then we have top players for the week, for this week. Top players for this week. So in this scenario now, I'm going to use my word font to select and be precise. So I'm going to select the word font. I'm going to click on this, and this is 900 weight, size 70 pixels, and line height 8. is 75 pixels. So I'm going to come back right here. This is going to be 90 pixels, and the weight is going to be 900. The line height is going to be 95 pixels. If I'm not mistaken, the line height is 75 pixels. The size is 70 pixels, not 90. So line height 75, 70 pixels. So we should have 70 pixels here and 75 pixels here. So now that we have that, we are going to have some text. I'm going to drag in the text editor, and I'm just going to come here to see what we have here. Same thing, come to style. Let's make this pure white. You can go ahead to change the font as well, but of course that's not really necessary because this is just a tutorial. But for your own case, you want to make sure your font is consistent. I'm going to paste. I just copied this button right up from here, pasted it, and everything is good to go. So what next is to get rid of all the padding, just like I always do. I don't miss that. So I'm going to select the grid padding. I'm going to get rid of it. Select this guy, I'm going to get rid of it, and then the outer container, get rid of the padding. It is as simple as that. So let's see this. This is looking good. So you can select this text and then come to advanced, come to width, make it custom, percentage, and then you can just play around with it to get what we want. So I think about 70 is looking good. This is looking good. I'm just going to go ahead, click on update, and voila, we have exactly what we have right here. The only thing we need to do is the padding right here is looking a little bit small. So I'm going to select the container containing this tool. To do that, I'll need my navigator as usual. And we select this container. That's not the right container. Select this. That's not the right container. Select this. That's not the right container. Select this. Now that is the right container. Come to layouts, and for the gaps, I'm going to make it 30. I'm going to come back to select this guy because it seems this now not displaying well. I'm going to come to advanced and custom width. You can make it 75. Go ahead to click on update, and this is looking way better. So now that we have this, the next thing is to make it mobile responsive. I'm going to inspect this guy, and I'm just going to exit the word font. So let's start with the tablets. I'm going to come to iPad mini, and we have this. So let's do that. I'm going to select this. This is not looking too good. Select the text, and this will be more of changing the font size. I'm going to make this 40 pixels. So I'm just going to make this pixels 40 pixels. The other text is looking good. Every other thing is looking good. I'm going to select this mother container. I'll change this. So top will remain 200. Bottom should be something like 80. Then as usual, right and left, 30, 30. I'm just going to select this and get rid of the advanced width. I'll give it, I'm going to make it percentage. I'll just make it 100. So it can be responsive. So let's go to mobile, and for mobile, as you can see, this is looking messed up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select my navigator to select the grid, and then I'm going to scroll down, come to layout, scroll down, and I'm going to make it 2 fraction units each. So this is looking good. The next thing we need to do is reduce the negative padding or margin on each of the image. I'm going to select the first image. I'm going to undo this, and instead I'm going to make the negative margin something like 50, something like this. I'm going to copy the image. I'm going to right click on this image, and I'm going to paste style. Now what you are doing is you are pasting the style. I'm going to paste style, and I'm going to paste style. So while still on the grid, select the grid, come down right here, undo this guy, and they can all be 20, 20. So for this one, we can make it 80. That's too much. 70. 70 is looking good, or better still 50, 60. 60 is looking perfect. Select this mother container and chain it. So top can be something like, let's go with 120. Right and left 20, 20, and bottom 70. Can go ahead and click on update. Looking good on tablets. Looking good on mobile. So the next section is going to be what we have here. It's also going to be a grid, which is the logo, displaying the logo. For this section, all we just need is a grid and then play around it for the responsiveness. So I'm just going to come down here and maybe just edit this guy. Click on this, and then for the bottom, let's make it 50. So I'm just going to create a new container, just like I always do, and then inside that container I'm going to drag in a grid, and then the grid is going to be 6 columns and then 1 row. I'm going to select this, the mother container, come to advanced, unchain this, and then top can be 50 and bottom can be 50. For the style, it's going to be pure black as well. So all I need to do is inside each of these guys, just drag in an image, choose my image, and then just select these guys. I'm going to choose each image, come to style, and make it something like 50%. I'm going to copy and paste for each container, then proceed to change each of the image. So we have this, select this, we have this, select this, we have this. So one thing you notice is they are looking a little bit bigger than one another. I'm just going to select this, and instead of 50, we can make this one 55. Select this, and instead of 50, we can make this one 40. So thereabout. So I'm going to select the grid now, and I'm going to scroll down, and I want everything aligned to the center and also aligned to the center. Now this got a little bit smaller, but I'm going to increase it to something like 70. So now that I've done with that, let's work on the responsiveness. For tablet, I can leave it like this, but I can also make it 3 columns and 2 rows. For mobile, we can make it 2 columns and 3 rows. So it's as simple as that. So that section is that easy. For the next section, it's going to be this testimonial. It is actually very simple and very easy to do. So first, let's dissect it. So as usual, we're going to have a mother container, and then inside that mother container, we're going to have an inner container, which is going to contain all these guys. Now if you look at this guy, you can divide it into 2 columns. So we have the big guy right here, which is this column, and then we have this tiny column. I think we should take it one step at a time. So let's do what I just described. I'm going to come here, I'm going to create a flex box pointing down, and then inside that we're going to have a container, and then inside this container we're going to have 2 containers. I'm going to duplicate, and then I'm going to select the inner container, and I'm going to make them horizontal just like this. So I'm going to drag this guy to make it something like 70% thereabout, while this is going to be 30%. So first, let's work on this. I'm going to search for testimonials. I'm going to drag it in, and if you look at this, we have some text at the top. So I'm also going to drag a heading in right here. Simple as that. I'm going to come here to copy this guy. I'm going to paste it here. I think move down. I'm going to bring it back up. I'm going to select this guy as well. I'm going to copy this guy. I'm going to come here to replace this text, and then the image. I'm going to choose image. We have this young man, and then the text and every other thing, I'm going to leave it the way they have. So all we need to do now is let's select the mother container style, and they should be pure black. So come to advanced, and then padding top, can give it something like 50, padding bottom 50. So now that we have that, if you look at this, the background color is kind of pink. You can select this guy, and then come to advanced, give it a padding all around of 25 pixels. Come to styles, select the classic, select the color, and I'm just going to put it somewhere around here, somewhere like this. I think that is very similar to what we have right there. Yeah, somewhere around that. So select this guy, and they should be pure white. To make things faster, I'm just going to select my word fonts, and this is 18 pixels in size, and the line height is 25 pixels. For this is 14 pixels, and the line height is 23 pixels. So I'm going to come back right here, and this is 18 pixels. I'm going to select this, come to the typography, it's going to be 18 pixels, and the line height is 25 pixels. For this, I'm going to come to style. This should be pure white as well. For the typography, this is 14 pixels, and I think the line height was 23 pixels. So now that we have that, we're going to come back to content, and we want to align this guy to the left, just like this. And then for the image, I'm just going to come to style and just play around the image. For the image, you can give it a size of 40, should work just fine. And then for the text, for the name, you can make it pure white. And then the title as well can be pure white. Now that I've taken care of this guy, let's move to these guys. So I've taken care of the first section. Now for the second container, this can be divided into 2 rows. You can have row 1 and row 2. So let's do that. So inside this other container, I'm going to drag in another container. I'm going to duplicate it, and now we have row 1 and row 2. So let's work on the upper row. For the upper row, we have 2 columns, 1 and 2. So this can be like 70 pixels, 70%, 30%. So inside the upper container, we're going to drag in a container again. duplicate it, and we're going to select the outer container and make it an horizontal row. Drag this guy to make this 60. So what I'm just going to do is I'm going to copy this guy. I'm going to paste it right in here. I'm going to copy this guy as well, and I'm going to paste it right in here. So just go ahead to copy this guy, and in here I'm going to paste, and I'm going to copy this as well, and I'm going to paste. As simple as that. So after doing that, I'm going to select the container of that, come to advanced, make it 25 pixels, right? And if you look at the background, it is red. So come to style, and this guy is going to be the Daredevil. Something about that. So I'm just going to copy this as well, paste it here, copy and paste. So for the contents, we're also going to come here to copy, going to paste it, select this, I'm going to copy, and I'm going to paste. So I'm going to select this, and we also need to give it some padding around of 25. And if you look at this guy is orange. So come to background color, just give it something around here, that much. So now that we have that, we can go ahead to delete this lower column, lower row, and just duplicate this. Duplicate the, make sure you select the right one, duplicate the outer guy, so the one containing these two. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to select this inner container and bring it towards the end and do both exchange position. So this is blue and this is purple. So we can have it like that, and this, we can have this guy as purple. So now that I've done that, if you should expand this, you notice they're not even displaying well, as you can see. So the main cause for that is because of the external padding, and that is why I usually get rid of the external paddings. So let's start with this one. Advanced, remove the padding, and this as well. Advanced, remove the padding. Move to the next one. Advanced, get rid of the padding, and then the outer guy. Advanced, get rid of the padding. As you can see, now they're the same height. You can select the mother container and just give this guy a padding bottom of 50, not 5. Now we need to work on the responsiveness. So if I should come here and I inspect this guy, let's start with the iPad. As you can see, this is where it's displaying. If I should come here and I inspect this guy, there's a whole lot going on here that isn't looking good. So I'm going to come back to my container. I'm going to come to tablet responsive. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my navigator so I can select the right guy. Scroll down. I want to make sure I'm selecting the right guy. So yeah, I'm going to select this container containing these two columns. I'm going to come to layout, and instead of having it to row horizontal, I want to have it to row vertical. Then I'm going to select the container for this first guy. Container for this first guy, which is this one. I'm going to come to layout, and I'm going to make it 100%. So this is going to be 100% by default. Then we can select the mother container. I'll change this and just give it maybe 50 up, 30 right and left, 50 bottom, and 30 right here. As simple as that. Let's come to mobile. Mobile is looking good. All we need to do is work on this padding. So top 50 right, 20 bottom, 50, and left is going to be 20. As simple as ABC. Now going to the final section, which is the footer, and this is very easy to dissect. Looking at this, we are going to have a mother container. Then inside our mother container, we are going to have a grid. Then inside each grid, we're going to have a container, and then we're going to have our content, and also we're going to be able to make it mobile responsive. To get started, I'm going to come here. I'm going to create a Flexbox container, and inside the Flexbox container, we're going to have a grid. So our grid is going to be 4 columns and 1 row. So I'm going to select the grid, the mother container, not the grid now. I change that. Then top, we can have it as something like 100, because now this is the footer, and then bottom, we can have it as something like 50. Style is going to be pure black, and this is looking good. Then inside our first container, we're going to have another container, and then inside that container, as you can see, we have this. I'm just going to come right here to copy this guy, and I'm going to paste. And then here we have creative solution by professional designers. Again, I'm just going to copy, and I'm going to paste. So right here, I'm just going to come here to select text. So this is 30 pixel size and 40 pixels line height. Then inside this container as well, I'm going to have a container, and then this container is going to contain this text. So we can just come here and let's just copy this guy, and I'm just going to paste it right here. Simple as that. You can just add more text to make things, or better still, let me come here. So I can visit my word fonts, just copy what we have here, and then we're going to have a container inside the third grid as well, and inside it we're going to have our logo. So just going to come here, select an image, drag it here, choose our logo, come to style, position to the right, change the size to like 50% thereabouts, and below it we're going to have some text, and then all going to be white. Simple as that. And we're going to have some icons. So I'm just going to search for socials, drag it below it, align it to the left, come to style, make it custom. The background color, we're going to give it some orange, and the upper color is going to be white. Come to the contents, the shape is going to be circle. I can come to size and just make it 20, as simple as that. And then for the final part, which is this, I can come here to copy this entire grid. So I'm going to use my navigator to locate it. I'm going to select this container, so stay a little bit up till I see a grid. Let's select this container, so that's way too up, and on this container, that means we can close this container and it should be this. Good. Now that I've selected it, we know this is the grid. So I'm just going to copy the grid. I'm going to scroll down, and then inside this container we can paste our grid. It's as simple as that. Now this is not looking good. I can select this guy and then remove this guy, just make it maybe -50, -50, and copy, just paste style, and paste style. So this gap is not looking good. I'm going to come to my container, scroll all the way down, and then I'm going to select the grid, and here we can quickly work on that. So this should be something like, let's try 50, and then let's try 70. I think 60 works fine, works just fine, and this is looking good. So after doing that, the only thing left is to get rid of the paddings. So the container paddings, I'm going to select the first guy, you can change the padding, select this guy, get rid of the padding, select this guy, get rid of the padding, select this guy, and get rid of the padding as well. So let's go ahead to click on updates. Now let's make it mobile responsive. I'm going to inspect. Let's start with our iPad mini, and this is looking messed up. So this is what you are going to get if you've used Flexbox. Now imagine if you make use of Flexbox, there's no way you can turn it to 2 columns, 4 rows, and stuff like that, because you are using Flexbox. And that is why I said there are some instances where you need to use grid, especially when it comes to mobile responsiveness. So I'm going to come back here and come to tablets. So for tablets, all I just need to do is locate the grid, the model grid now, which is this one. Select that, come to layout, and I just want it as 2 by 2. It's as simple as that. Select the model container, come to the advanced, and change this. I'm going to leave it as 100 padding top, 30 right and the left, and maybe bottom 50. It's as simple as that. Then come to mobile, and then for the mobile, definitely we know it's going to be, everything is going to be stacked. So what you can do is just select this grid and come to the gap, and you can make it 30 space in between all these guys. As you can see, this is not working so well, so you can make it a little bit 40, or just come here, select this grid, which is the one containing all these guys, come to advanced and give it some margin top of 50. Let's go 60 or 70. Looking all good. Let's select the model container, change this guy, and then top you can have 70. Right, we can have 20, we can have 20 here as well to the left, and we can have 50 to the bottom, and we are good with the page. This is all we need to do, and as you can see, it is simple and straightforward. The Elementor Flexbox container and grid work hand in hand, and then you can use both to create stunning designs. So at the beginning of this video, I told you I'm going to show you how to get your own design, how to come up with designs like this, how to get inspiration. Now I'm going to show you something. Let me come to my Finder, I'm going to locate my documents and I'm going to come to inspiration. So I have a folder I call inspiration where whenever I see a design, I just screenshot it, save it, and then keep it here in case I want to design a website another time. So if you should look at this, let me open this. You notice this style here is the same style I have here, but then I just added my own reads. If you look at it, and if you come down here, if you look at the heading, kind of similar but not exactly similar, but it is the same style. So that's one design. Let's come here to another design. If you look at this one, this design, this place is very similar to what I have here. I just added my own reads as well. So literally this design is a combination of 2, 3, 4 designs to make it one. This grid system, I saw it on the tutorial video on YouTube, but this time around we were using CSS or Tailwind CSS thereabout, and now I made use of Elementor Flexbox to build this. Now the question you may be asking yourself is, where can I get all this design? One of the easiest ways to get this design is on YouTube. Most times what I do is I go online to YouTube and I search for modern designs, new website design trends, and then I see some videos where they talk about designs, and I just take a screenshot. If you look at this, these are all screenshots. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They're all screenshots of a video I'm watching. I just screenshot that particular page. Usually I make use of this plugin called FireShot, and it can make me capture my screen depending on what I'm doing. Another way you can get design inspiration is to go to Pinterest. If you look at my feed, you notice right from my feed I can see designs. So look at these awesome designs, these 2 website designs. Look at this. So what I do is I just click on it, I go to the design and say, oh, if it's something I have interest in or something that is catching my attention, and I save it. All I just need to do is right click on the image, save image as, and I'm going to save it. So right underneath it, you're going to see other inspirations. Look at this. This is a very good inspiration. Look at this, very good inspiration. So another thing you can do is just come here to search for whatever you want. Let's say dark theme portfolio website. So look at this. These are all looking good. Look at this design. This is looking good. So right here I can come here and be like, okay, I have to take this concept, just this concept from this design, and then mix it with, let's say, another concept, maybe this header. I love this header. And then mix it with another concept from another design, and then by the time you combine those together, you're going to have a solid landing page instead of going with the traditional design concept that probably isn't catchy again or looking trendy. So one of the easiest way to get all this awesome design is to use Pinterest or use the YouTube method I told you. Some of you may be like, oh, why not go to Dribbble? Why not go to Behance? But one thing I've realized with those platforms is they are not giving me quality design, modern design as Pinterest will do. So this is where I come to. This is how I get my ideas, and that is what I just shared with you. For those of you who may be wondering, how does WordPress or Elementor work at large? Maybe you are not yet very good with developing website with WordPress and Elementor. I have a 6 hours tutorial video that covers everything about WordPress and Elementor website design, from building a personal portfolio website to building an e-commerce website, a blog, and even customizing the entire website. You can find the link to the video in the description below to also partake of that video. If you combine that video with the knowledge you have right here, you become unstoppable. So you'll be able to build any website that you wish. This is where I'm going to wrap up this video tutorial. If you've learned 1 or 2 things from this particular tutorial, I will appreciate if you can leave a thumbs up on this video, like this video, share this video with your friends, and if you have any question or you have any concern, leave it in the comment section below. Of course, I remain Moses, and I'm going to see you in the next tutorial.